When we talk about sleep, most people focus on supplements, blackout curtains, or sleep trackers. While these tools have their place, the truth is, what you consume in the hours before bed can fundamentally shift the architecture of your sleep. Sleep is not simply being unconscious, it's an active process in which the brain and body cycle through phases, light sleep, deep sleep, and REM, that restore your nervous system, hormones, metabolism, and even your mood the next day. From a neuroscience perspective, certain nutrients can act as signals to the brain and body that it's time to enter deep restorative sleep. These signals work by affecting neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, as well as by regulating core body temperature and melatonin production. Today, I'll share 4 foods supported by science that can help you fall asleep faster and achieve deeper, higher quality sleep. And I'll give you the exact timing, mechanisms, and how to integrate them without disrupting your circadian rhythm. Kiwi is a deceptively simple fruit, small, sweet, tangy, but inside, it's a powerhouse of compounds that directly influence the very chemistry of sleep. Most people think of kiwi as just another healthy fruit high in vitamin C, but when you look closely through the lens of neuroscience and sleep biology, kiwi reveals itself as one of the most underappreciated tools for better sleep quality. The core reason it's so effective has to do with serotonin, a neurotransmitter that acts as a biochemical bridge between wakefulness and sleep. Serotonin doesn't just make you feel good. In the brain, it's converted into melatonin, the hormone that sets the timing of your circadian rhythm and signals to your body that it's time to rest. What makes kiwi remarkable is that it's naturally high in serotonin compared to most fruits. Ingesting serotonin-rich foods can subtly increase the circulating levels of serotonin available in the bloodstream, and although dietary serotonin itself doesn't directly cross the blood-brain barrier, it can still influence the brain indirectly by acting on receptors in the gut and via the gut-brain axis. The gastrointestinal tract contains a huge network of neurons, your enteric nervous system, that communicates constantly with the central nervous system through the vagus nerve. This means compounds that interact with serotonin in your gut can set off a chain reaction of neurochemical changes that ultimately impact sleep regulation in the brain. The science behind kiwi's sleep-enhancing properties has been tested in controlled studies. One of the most cited comes from researchers at Taipei Medical University, who took a group of adults, men and women between the ages of 20 and 55, who had self-reported sleep difficulties. Over the course of 4 weeks, participants ate 2 medium-sized kiwis 1 hour before bedtime each night. The results were striking. On average, the time it took to fall asleep, called sleep latency, dropped by 35%. Total sleep time increased by about 13%, and most importantly, sleep efficiency, the ratio of time spent actually sleeping to total time spent in bed, improved by 5%. That's a significant shift for something as simple as adding a fruit to your evening routine. Why would kiwi, in particular, outperform other serotonin-containing foods? The answer lies not only in serotonin, but also in kiwi's unique nutritional matrix. Kiwis are rich in antioxidants, including vitamin C and E, which help reduce oxidative stress. Oxidative stress can disrupt the balance of neurotransmitters, including serotonin, and is known to impair sleep quality by creating low-level inflammation in neural tissue. By reducing oxidative stress, kiwi creates a more stable biochemical environment in which serotonin can do its job effectively. Then there's the role of folate. Many people are unaware that folate deficiency has been linked to insomnia and restless sleep. Folate is necessary for the synthesis of serotonin from tryptophan, the amino acid precursor. Kiwi provides a healthy dose of folate, which means it doesn't just give you serotonin, it also gives you the tools your body needs to make more of it. The combination of serotonin, folate, and antioxidants creates a sort of sleep synergy that other fruits often lack. There's another fascinating angle here: kiwi's impact on the autonomic nervous system. Your body has 2 major modes: the sympathetic state, often called fight or flight, and the parasympathetic state, known as rest and digest. Good sleep requires a strong shift toward parasympathetic dominance in the hours before bed. Some evidence suggests that kiwi consumption can help modulate this shift, possibly by influencing heart rate variability, a measure of nervous system balance. While more research is needed, early data points toward kiwi subtly nudging the nervous system toward the calm, restorative state that's ideal for initiating sleep. Timing is also critical. The Taipei study and subsequent research show that the benefits are maximized when kiwi is consumed about 1 hour before bed. This allows time for digestion, nutrient absorption, and the initial biochemical signaling to take place before you're actually lying down. Eating it too early in the day won't provide the same circadian cue, and eating it right as you get into bed may not give your body enough time to process the compounds. It's also worth noting that kiwi doesn't act like a sedative. It doesn't knock you out or force sleep. Instead, it creates conditions in your body that make sleep more likely to emerge naturally and more deeply once it begins. That's an important distinction because natural sleep triggered by your own circadian and homeostatic systems is always higher in quality than drug-induced sleep. The EEG brainwave patterns are different, the hormonal cascades are more balanced, and you wake feeling genuinely refreshed rather than groggy. From a practical perspective, incorporating kiwi into your nighttime routine is easy. Choose ripe, medium-sized kiwis, wash them, and eat them skin on if you can tolerate it. The skin contains extra fiber and antioxidants. If you prefer, you can slice and chill them for a refreshing, hydrating snack. For those who travel or have irregular schedules, dried kiwi or even freeze-dried kiwi can be a portable option, though fresh will always give you the highest water content and the most intact vitamin C levels. The broader takeaway here is that small targeted dietary changes, like adding kiwi to your evening, can compound over time to produce meaningful changes in sleep quality. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet or spend hundreds on sleep gadgets. Just understanding the neurochemical pathways that link food to sleep can empower you to choose foods that work with your biology instead of against it. And kiwi, backed by both mechanistic science and clinical research, is one of the clearest examples of that principle in action. Tart cherries, especially the Montmorency variety, stand out as one of the rare natural foods that contain measurable amounts of melatonin, the hormone your body produces in the pineal gland to regulate sleep-wake cycles. While many people associate melatonin only with over-the-counter supplements, obtaining it through food offers a gentler, more physiologically aligned way to influence sleep. The melatonin in tart cherries is bioidentical to the melatonin your body makes, which means it can seamlessly integrate into your existing circadian rhythm without the abrupt spikes that synthetic pills can sometimes cause. The story begins with melatonin's role in the circadian system. Your brain releases melatonin in response to darkness, typically beginning a few hours before your natural bedtime. This hormone signals to the rest of your body that its nighttime body temperature starts to drop, metabolism slows, and the mind begins to prepare for rest. The problem in modern life is that many of us are exposed to artificial light late into the evening, which suppresses melatonin production. That's where tart cherries can help. By providing a direct dietary source of melatonin, they can counteract some of the suppression caused by late-night light exposure. In one key study conducted at Louisiana State University, older adults with insomnia were given tart cherry juice twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening, for 2 weeks. The results were compelling. Participants increased their total sleep time by an average of 84 minutes per night, with measurable improvements in sleep efficiency as well. This wasn't just a placebo effect. Researchers confirmed the presence of higher melatonin levels in the participants' blood after consuming the juice. They also noted improvements in sleep continuity, meaning fewer nighttime awakenings, which is a hallmark of deep restorative sleep. But melatonin is only part of the story. Tart cherries also contain compounds called proanthocyanidins, powerful antioxidants that help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress throughout the body. Chronic low-grade inflammation can interfere with neurotransmitter balance, disturb hormone production, and even disrupt the brain's glymphatic system, which is responsible for clearing waste during sleep. By lowering inflammatory markers, tart cherries create a physiological environment more conducive to high-quality sleep. There's also an interesting connection between tart cherries and tryptophan, the amino acid precursor to serotonin and melatonin. Tart cherries contain small but significant amounts of tryptophan, and perhaps more importantly, they help preserve tryptophan in the body by reducing the activity of an enzyme called indoleamine 2,3-dioxygenase IDO. This enzyme tends to divert tryptophan away from serotonin production during times of stress or inflammation. By keeping tryptophan available for serotonin synthesis, tart cherries may indirectly boost melatonin levels even further. From a practical standpoint, tart cherries can be consumed in several forms, but the most studied is juice, specifically Montmorency tart cherry juice. The recommended protocol based on research is about 8 ounces in the morning and another 8 ounces 1 to 2 hours before bed. This dual dosing approach helps maintain steady melatonin and antioxidant levels throughout the day while providing a final evening boost that aligns with your natural melatonin rise. Some people prefer whole cherries either fresh or frozen, but you'd need to consume a fairly large portion, roughly 25 to 30 cherries, to match the melatonin content of the juice. Dried tart cherries can work as well, but the sugar concentration is higher, so portion control is key, especially if consumed before sleep. One of the advantages of getting melatonin from tart cherries rather than supplements is that it's embedded in a complex matrix of other nutrients. This natural packaging seems to promote a slower release and better absorption, avoiding the unnatural peaks and troughs in melatonin levels that can sometimes lead to morning grogginess when people take high-dose supplements. Additionally, the polyphenols in tart cherries appear to have neuroprotective effects, which may enhance brain health and cognitive function over the long term, an important side benefit given the deep link between sleep quality and mental performance. Another aspect worth mentioning is hydration. Sleep quality can be subtly influenced by hydration status, as even mild dehydration can elevate stress hormones like cortisol. Tart cherry juice contributes to evening hydration, which may help keep heart rate and body temperature slightly lower during the night, both of which are associated with deeper slow-wave sleep. The only caution here is to avoid consuming large volumes immediately before bed if you're prone to waking up to use the bathroom, as that could offset some of the benefits. It's also important to understand that tart cherries don't act as a sedative. They won't force you to sleep. Instead, they provide your body with the hormonal and biochemical conditions it needs to naturally initiate and maintain sleep. This makes them a safe, sustainable option for long-term use, unlike many pharmacological sleep aids that can interfere with natural sleep architecture. Over the course of several days to weeks, regular consumption seems to entrain the body toward more efficient sleep onset and longer periods of uninterrupted rest. The broader implication here is that tart cherries exemplify how a single dietary change grounded in solid science can produce measurable improvements in sleep quality without relying on synthetic interventions. They align with the principles of circadian biology, work synergistically with other sleep-promoting behaviors like light management and temperature control, and offer additional health benefits that extend well beyond sleep. For those looking to fine-tune their evening routine, adding tart cherries or their juice can be one of the most effective, low-risk tools available. Over time, this simple practice can compound into deeper recovery, better cognitive performance, and a stronger overall sense of vitality upon waking. Almonds are far more than just a convenient snack. They are a concentrated source of nutrients that interact directly with the brain and body systems responsible for relaxation and sleep. One of the most significant compounds in almonds in the context of sleep is magnesium. Magnesium plays a crucial role in hundreds of enzymatic reactions in the body, but when it comes to sleep, its most important function is as a natural relaxant for the nervous system. It binds to and activates GABA receptors in the brain. GABA being the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. When GABA binds to its receptors, it decreases neural excitability, quiets overactive thought patterns, and lowers the likelihood of stress hormones like cortisol spiking at night. This shift in brain chemistry essentially helps the mind and body move from a state of alertness into one that's ready for deep rest. Many people are unknowingly deficient in magnesium due to modern diets and soil depletion, which can contribute to restlessness, muscle tension, and even nighttime cramps, all of which can disrupt sleep. Adding a modest portion of almonds into your evening routine can help replenish magnesium stores naturally. A 1-ounce serving, about a small handful, provides roughly 75 milligrams of magnesium, which is about 20% of the recommended daily intake. While that might not seem like much on its own, the impact on sleep is amplified when this magnesium is consistently supplied over time. Almonds also contribute to sleep through their healthy fat profile. They're rich in monounsaturated fats, which help stabilize blood sugar levels throughout the night. This is more important than many realize. Unstable blood sugar can trigger nighttime awakenings because the body perceives drops in glucose as a stressor, prompting a cortisol release. By providing a steady energy source, the fats in almonds help keep blood sugar stable, reducing the chances of waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. feeling restless. In addition to magnesium and healthy fats, almonds contain a modest but meaningful amount of melatonin, the hormone responsible for signaling the body that it's time to sleep. While the melatonin content in almonds isn't as high as in tart cherries, the combination of melatonin with magnesium creates a synergistic effect. Melatonin signals that it's nighttime, while magnesium helps quiet the nervous system so the body can respond to that signal effectively. This pairing is especially beneficial for people who find it easy to fall asleep but struggle with staying asleep, as magnesium tends to enhance sleep continuity. There's also a link between almonds and muscle relaxation. Magnesium helps regulate calcium flow in muscle cells, and when calcium is balanced, muscles can relax fully rather than remain in a semi-contracted state. This is particularly useful for individuals who experience physical tension at the end of the day, whether from exercise, prolonged sitting, or stress-related muscle tightness. A relaxed body sends reinforcing signals to the brain that it's safe to enter deeper stages of sleep, especially slow-wave sleep, which is essential for physical recovery. One often overlooked benefit of almonds is their role in supporting healthy neurotransmitter function through vitamin B, 2-riboflavin, and other B vitamins. These vitamins are involved in the conversion of tryptophan, an amino acid present in almonds, into serotonin and subsequently melatonin. By supplying both the raw materials and the cofactors needed for this biochemical pathway, almonds help ensure that the brain has the resources to produce its own sleep-promoting hormones in an efficient manner. Timing matters with almonds. Because they contain fats and protein, they take longer to digest than carbohydrate-heavy snacks. Eating them about 1 hour before bed is generally ideal. It allows enough time for the nutrients to begin circulating without causing digestive discomfort while lying down. Some people pair almonds with a small piece of fruit, such as a banana or kiwi, to provide a small amount of carbohydrate. This combination can promote a mild insulin response, which helps shuttle tryptophan into the brain more effectively. Research on magnesium supplementation for sleep has shown that it can improve sleep quality, reduce the time it takes to fall asleep, and increase slow-wave sleep duration. While almonds won't deliver the same concentrated dose as a supplement, their magnesium is packaged in a way the body recognizes and absorbs efficiently, and the presence of other supportive nutrients may make them more effective in the long term. Additionally, because almonds provide a slow-release form of energy, they can help those who experience early morning awakenings by sustaining blood glucose until the natural cortisol awakening response occurs. It's worth noting that almonds, like other nuts, contain compounds that may promote heart health and reduce inflammation. Since chronic inflammation can interfere with sleep by activating the immune system and keeping the body in a low-level state of alertness, the anti-inflammatory properties of almonds add another indirect benefit for sleep quality. The antioxidants in almonds, such as vitamin E, also help neutralize free radicals that can otherwise damage cells and disrupt normal biological rhythms. From a practical perspective, almonds are highly versatile. They can be eaten raw, lightly roasted, or even blended into almond butter for a smooth, easy-to-digest option. For individuals who have difficulty chewing whole nuts at night or who prefer a warm beverage, adding almond butter to a cup of warm, caffeine-free herbal tea can create a calming bedtime ritual. The key is consistency. Incorporating almonds as part of a nightly routine can, over time, lead to noticeable improvements in sleep onset, depth, and continuity. Ultimately, almonds demonstrate that improving sleep doesn't always require dramatic interventions or pharmaceutical solutions. By providing magnesium to calm the nervous system, healthy fats to stabilize energy, small amounts of melatonin to support circadian timing, and nutrients that aid neurotransmitter production, they address multiple pathways involved in initiating and maintaining deep sleep. When combined with good light management, a consistent bedtime, and other sleep-supportive foods, almonds can become a reliable and enjoyable part of a science-backed protocol for better rest and recovery. Turkey is widely recognized for its association with sleepiness, particularly in the context of holiday meals, but the science behind its sleep-promoting effects is more nuanced than the cultural anecdotes suggest. At the center of this story is tryptophan, an essential amino acid that the body cannot produce on its own and must obtain through diet. Tryptophan serves as the raw material for the production of serotonin, a neurotransmitter that regulates mood, and melatonin, the hormone that sets the timing of the sleep-wake cycle. The presence of tryptophan in turkey is one of the reasons it has been linked to feelings of post-meal drowsiness, though the real mechanism involves more than just eating the protein itself. Tryptophan's journey from your dinner plate to your brain is not straightforward. After you consume turkey, the tryptophan enters your bloodstream along with a host of other amino acids from the protein. These amino acids all compete for transport across the blood-brain barrier using the same carrier system. Because tryptophan is relatively low in concentration compared to other amino acids, it often loses out in this competition. However, there's a strategy that shifts the odds in tryptophan's favor, pairing turkey with a moderate amount of carbohydrates. When you consume carbs, your body releases insulin, which helps shuttle most competing amino acids into muscle tissue, leaving more tryptophan in circulation and increasing its chances of entering the brain. Once inside the brain, tryptophan can be converted into serotonin and then melatonin, setting the stage for more efficient sleep onset. Beyond tryptophan, turkey is also a good source of certain B vitamins, particularly niacin B3 and vitamin B6, which are important cofactors in the enzymatic reactions that transform tryptophan into serotonin and melatonin. Without adequate B6, the conversion process is less efficient, meaning that even if you have sufficient tryptophan, your brain might not produce as much serotonin or melatonin as it could. This is one of the reasons turkey's nutrient profile is ideal for supporting sleep. It doesn't just provide the raw material, but also the biochemical tools to process it effectively. Another factor that makes turkey beneficial for sleep is its protein content and how it interacts with satiety and blood sugar regulation. High-protein meals can help prevent late-night hunger, which might otherwise lead to waking up in the middle of the night. This satiety effect works in tandem with stable blood sugar levels to create a physiological environment where the brain can remain in restorative stages of sleep without interruption. For people who experience nighttime awakenings due to hunger or fluctuating glucose, a small serving of turkey in the evening can be a practical solution. Turkey also contains minerals like selenium and zinc, both of which are linked to healthy immune and endocrine function. Selenium in particular has been associated with improved sleep quality in population studies, likely because of its role in reducing oxidative stress and supporting thyroid hormone balance, both of which influence energy regulation and circadian timing. Zinc, on the other hand, plays a role in modulating the activity of NMDA receptors in the brain, which are involved in neuroplasticity and could indirectly affect sleep depth and quality. The misconception that eating turkey alone immediately induces drowsiness often stems from the post-holiday experience of large, rich meals. In reality, the feeling of sleepiness after a big turkey dinner is more likely due to a combination of factors: large calorie intake, higher carbohydrate consumption, alcohol in some cases, and the body diverting blood flow to the digestive system. However, when turkey is used strategically in smaller, targeted portions as part of a bedtime routine, its tryptophan and nutrient profile can be harnessed to gently shift the body into a sleep-ready state without the sluggish heaviness of overeating. The ideal approach is to consume a modest portion, about 3 to 4 ounces of lean turkey meat about 1 to 2 hours before bedtime, paired with a small carbohydrate source such as sweet potato, whole grain bread, or fruit. This timing allows the digestive process to begin, insulin to rise slightly, and tryptophan to cross into the brain before you're ready to sleep. Lean cuts are preferable to heavily processed turkey products, as these may contain sodium, preservatives, and additives that could interfere with hydration and overall sleep quality. It's also worth noting that turkey is low in saturated fat compared to some other animal protein sources, which means it can be digested more comfortably before bed. Heavy, high-fat meals tend to slow digestion, raise core body temperature, and disrupt the cooling process that naturally occurs before sleep. By contrast, lean turkey supports this cooling phase, helping to align with the body's natural drop in core temperature that signals it's time to rest. For people who follow strength training or endurance exercise programs, turkey can offer an additional sleep-related benefit through recovery. Protein intake before bed has been shown to enhance overnight muscle protein synthesis, provided the body is in a rested state. Since deep sleep stages are when growth hormone peaks and tissue repair is at its highest, combining turkey's protein with its sleep-promoting tryptophan content may provide a double benefit: better sleep and better recovery. Incorporating turkey into a nightly wind-down routine can be as simple as preparing slices of roasted turkey breast to pair with a light carbohydrate. It could also be added into a small, balanced evening salad with leafy greens and a slow-digesting carbohydrate source. The key is moderation: enough protein to provide tryptophan and maintain satiety, but not so much food that digestion becomes a barrier to sleep. Over time, the consistent inclusion of tryptophan-rich foods like turkey, combined with proper light management and a stable sleep schedule, can subtly enhance melatonin production, improve sleep onset latency, and increase the depth of slow-wave and REM stages. The result is not just longer sleep, but higher quality sleep that leaves you more alert, focused, and physically recovered the next day. No matter how carefully you choose foods that promote sleep, the effects will be limited if your light exposure and circadian signals are out of sync. Sleep is not just a matter of having enough melatonin or calming neurotransmitters in your system. It is about timing when those signals are released, how they align with your internal clock, and whether your environment is supporting or conflicting with those signals. Light is the single most powerful cue or Zeitgeber for your circadian rhythm. Your brain's master clock, located in the suprachiasmatic nucleus (SCN) of the hypothalamus, takes its primary input from light entering your eyes. This light doesn't just affect vision, it communicates directly with the SCN through specialized retinal ganglion cells that contain melanopsin, a light-sensitive pigment tuned especially to blue wavelengths. These cells send signals telling your body whether it's day or night, which in turn influences melatonin production, cortisol release, core body temperature, and alertness. The problem is that, in the modern world, artificial lighting extends far beyond sunset, and our evenings are saturated with blue-enriched light from LEDs, smartphones, televisions, and computer screens. This evening light exposure essentially tells the SCN that it's still daytime, suppressing the pineal gland's melatonin release. Even a relatively dim light, around 30 to 50 lux, which is much less than typical indoor lighting, can delay melatonin onset if it's rich in blue wavelengths. That delay shifts your sleep onset later and can shorten total sleep duration, particularly if you still need to wake up at a fixed time the next morning. This is why managing light in the hours before bed is as critical as choosing sleep-supportive foods. The two systems work together. Foods rich in serotonin, magnesium, melatonin, or tryptophan can prime your body for sleep. But if your light exposure tells your brain it's still mid-afternoon, you're essentially sending it conflicting instructions. You might feel physically relaxed but mentally alert, which makes falling asleep much harder. The ideal approach is to mimic the natural light-dark cycle as closely as possible. In the morning, you want to get bright, outdoor light exposure, ideally within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. This anchors your circadian clock, setting the timer for melatonin release later in the evening. In the hours before bed, you do the opposite, reduce your exposure to bright, especially blue-rich light sources, dim overhead lighting, and if possible, switch to warmer-toned lights with lower color temperatures. Using lamps placed at lower heights instead of ceiling lights can also help, as it reduces direct stimulation of those melanopsin-containing retinal cells. For those who need to use screens at night, software or built-in settings that shift the color temperature toward the red-orange end of the spectrum can reduce melatonin suppression. Blue light blocking glasses are another tool, though their effectiveness depends on the lens quality and the consistency of use. They are most beneficial in the final 90 minutes before sleep when you want melatonin levels to rise naturally. Temperature also plays a role in circadian signaling. Your body's core temperature naturally drops in the evening, which is a cue for sleep onset. Bright light exposure at night can interfere with this cooling process by keeping your body in a more alert state. On the flip side, controlling your light exposure supports the natural drop in temperature, making it easier to fall and stay asleep. This is why combining dim lighting with cooler bedroom conditions around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit is so effective. The relationship between light and food timing is worth noting as well. If you consume your last meal or snack in a bright, well-lit environment at 10 p.m., you're reinforcing the message to your circadian system that the day is still ongoing. Shifting your final eating window earlier in the evening and pairing it with dim lighting can create a much more powerful sleep signal. This doesn't mean you can't have an evening snack like Kiwi, Tart, Cherries, Almonds, or turkey. It means you'll get the best results when that snack is consumed in an environment that tells your brain the day is done. One often overlooked aspect of light management is consistency. The SCN thrives on regularity, and irregular light exposure, bright light some nights, total darkness others, can make your circadian rhythm less stable. Just as eating sleep-promoting foods works best when done consistently, controlling your evening light exposure should become a nightly habit. Within a week or two of dimming your lights and limiting screen exposure in the evening, you may find that you start feeling naturally sleepy at the same time each night. That's your circadian system aligning with your behaviors, which is exactly what you want for long-term sleep quality. Finally, it's important to remember that while light is the most potent circadian cue, it's not the only one. Temperature, physical activity, and social interaction all play a role. However, light remains the master regulator, and without aligning it to your sleep goals, the benefits of sleep-supportive foods and other behaviors will be diminished. By combining proper nutrition with a controlled light environment, you create a powerful, synergistic protocol: foods that prime the body chemically and lighting that cues the brain electrically, both converging on the same biological message that it's time to rest deeply and recover fully. When it comes to improving sleep, many people treat it as a short-term project, something they work on for a week or two, expecting quick results. While it's true that you can sometimes notice improvements in sleep within days of changing certain habits, the real lasting benefits come from consistency. Sleep is a biological rhythm, and like any rhythm, it becomes stronger and more predictable when it's reinforced over and over again with the same signals at the same times. The foods you choose, the timing of your meals, your light exposure, and your bedtime routine all act as cues to your brain and body. If those cues are inconsistent, one night you dim the lights and have Tart cherry juice at 9 p.m., the next night you're scrolling on your phone under bright LEDs until midnight, your circadian system won't know what to expect. That uncertainty can make it harder for your body to reliably produce melatonin at the right time and can weaken the depth of your sleep. The brain and body operate on both circadian rhythms, which are about 24 hours long, and ultradian rhythms, which are shorter cycles that occur within that day. These rhythms control hormone release, alertness, digestion, and countless other processes. The more predictable your inputs are when you eat, when you get light exposure, when you start your wind down routine, the more your internal clocks can synchronize. Over time, the synchronization makes sleep feel effortless. You start getting sleepy around the same time every night, you wake up more easily in the morning, and you spend more time in the deeper restorative stages of sleep. Consistency is also critical for the foods that promote sleep. While having kiwi, tart cherries, almonds, or turkey once in a while might give you a small, temporary benefit, their full impact emerges when you consume them regularly, allowing your body to integrate those nutrients into its nightly repair processes. For example, magnesium from almonds works best when your body maintains steady levels over time. It's not something that works optimally from a single serving. Similarly, the antioxidants in tart cherries reduce inflammation gradually, which can lead to better long-term sleep quality rather than a dramatic one-night improvement. The same principle applies to tryptophan from turkey or serotonin from kiwi. They support neurotransmitter systems that are constantly in flux, and giving your brain a steady supply helps those systems stay balanced. In other words, these foods are tools for building a foundation, not quick fix hacks. If you expect them to solve your sleep issues overnight, you may be disappointed. If you integrate them into a consistent nightly protocol, you'll likely see sustained and compounding benefits. Another reason consistency matters is that sleep debt accumulates. When you sleep poorly for several nights in a row, your body tries to compensate by increasing the amount of deep sleep you get the next night, but it can't fully make up for all the lost rest. Chronic inconsistency in your schedule can create a constant state of partial sleep deprivation, which affects everything from mood to immune function to memory consolidation. Regularly reinforcing healthy sleep behaviors, nutritionally and behaviorally, prevents this debt from building up in the first place. Consistency also strengthens the psychological association between certain cues and sleep. If every night you dim the lights, have a specific snack like almonds or kiwi, and then do a relaxing activity before bed, those actions become a conditioned signal to your brain that it's time to sleep. This is similar to how athletes develop pre-performance routines. The repeated pairing of certain actions with a specific outcome strengthens the brain's ability to trigger that outcome automatically. Over time, you may find that simply starting your routine makes you feel sleepy even before your head hits the pillow. It's worth mentioning that consistency doesn't mean perfection. Life will inevitably bring disruptions, travel, social events, stressful days that keep you up later than planned. The key is to return to your baseline routine as quickly as possible after those disruptions. If you've been consistent most of the time, your circadian system is resilient enough to bounce back within a day or two. But if your routine is already erratic, those same disruptions can throw your sleep off for much longer. In practical terms, this means aiming for a consistent bedtime and wake time every day, including weekends, eating your sleep-supportive foods at roughly the same time each evening, and maintaining similar patterns of light exposure. It also means paying attention to how your body responds to these routines and adjusting if necessary. For example, if you notice that having turkey too close to bedtime makes you feel too full, you might shift that meal earlier while still keeping it part of